Courtney Hall joins us now. She tells us about a trip she took back to her ancestral homeland of Senegal, and you did this after a DNA test.
Yes, so I did a test way back when. I found out I'm of Senegalese Mandinka ancestry, so it's more information than I ever thought that I would know, because everything else is just said general African American. Duh. So I was curious, and I had to find out more, so I took a trip and take a look. Taking the test was simple. Just a swab of the cheek, my DNA was tested, and just like that, I was opened up to a land and culture I knew nothing about.
There are people living in Senegal today who are Mandinka people who have the same mitochondrial DNA that you do.
All of a sudden, I had a cultural identity outside of nationality and race, and more specific than African American.
It's changing lives.
Yeah.
It's changed my life.
So I sat down with actor and author Isaiah Washington, who did the same test I did, and found out his roots are in Sierra Leone.
Brother Washington, for your mitochondrial DNA, it's quite common among the Mende and Temne people in Sierra Leone.
Washington made history getting dual citizenship based solely on his DNA.
That's going to be the fun for you.
Yeah.
When you start to read more and more about the Mandinka. Yeah, the legacy and the history, then you'll start seeing why you are who you are.
I was inspired to learn more, so I booked a ticket, my first trip to Africa.
Here we go.
Hours later, I'm in Dakar.
Yes, hi.
With a pretty apt tour guide and translator. Remember Badu from the restaurant in Chicago? He decided to help me in my journey.
This is my neighborhood. Feel great to be back.
Right away, the discovery began.
Are you Mandinka?
No, he's a Fulani. You can tell this is the sign.
How can you tell?
Sign of the Fulani people.
But I was just a market away from meeting a member of my tribe.
Sissoko is a Mandingo. No, she doesn't speak the language yet.
I have to admit, I was startled by the similarities in features.
The nose, the skin, complexion. He say if you take a picture with him when you go back to the US, people will tell you, are you related to this guy? He knows that. And he can tell. You see the resemblance? The commonality is like striking.
Then we took a road trip.
We are in the middle of, where are we going?
Past the baobab trees and out of the city about 3 hours, to a village south of Dakar where, according to my DNA test, there's a very real likelihood I have distant relatives.
We are in Wood in the Mandinka village.
Okay.
Called Chose.
This is supposedly where the tribal leaders meet and talk about issues, but
They are at the mosque right now playing. As you can hear the music.
so far no Mandinka people in that house.
We're going to continue to look.
We have found a Mandinka.
Again, some of the similarities in features and facial structure were striking.
He said the whole neighborhood is Mandinka, 100%. This is the heart, of the Mandinka people.
Does it surprise them to meet an African-American Mandinka?
The African American who come to this country, they came here for the same reason why you are here. They come to trace their roots. He say it's beautiful to see somebody who is part of your blood coming back here to retrace the roots. He say it gives him a chill.
And after the mosque service was over,
All of a sudden, we are surrounded by Mandinka.
I say that you are Mandinka. You want to look for your roots. You must come here for a long time. And you have possibilities to learn Mandinka, to discover everything about Mandinka civilization.
yet with every tribal member I met, a question remained.
Minyati, how do you feel?
What's your name? Itodu. What's your name?
Itodu.
Meaning my Mandinka family name. That's the puzzle piece I would need to find a distant relative, someone who shares my DNA. The answer to that was left at this door.
Wow.
So it was surreal
So-
to see my face in their faces. And I
Right.
really saw it with the thin face and the cheekbones, and some of those people, I felt like they could be related to me.
Wow.
And they really could be related to me.
And so how do you find that out?
Well, that's where the second part of the
Okay.
story picks up, and it gets complicated there. At that door of no return that I showed you before, that's part of that slave house. It's on Goree Island. It's about 20 minutes off the coast of Dakar, which is the capital of Senegal. And I took a tour. The slave house still stands. You see me looking around. You have the rooms where they separated people by sex, by age. They separated children from their mothers. And that's the door of no return. And they call it that because once you were taken from that door, you would never see Africa again. So once you went through that door, your African name was no more. You were just a weight, a height. You were a commodity.
Yeah.
And then when you got to America, you just took on the name of your slave owner. So I don't know if there's ever a way that I could find out my African name. But I'll continue to look. I'll kind of investigate from this side of the ocean now. And I would have to see who that first person was who got off the slave ship. And I mean, I can't even imagine how strong that person is to be able to survive that.
When they took people off the slave ship, did they have documents that distinguish one person from another?
They didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't. There were no name or identification whatsoever. Yeah.
Right.
So at this point, would it just be blind DNA testing of someone you thought
if
looked
I
like
went back to that village and blindly DNA
Right.
tested somebody with the same DNA markings as me, that is a blood relative. But that's like a needle in a haystack type of thing. I could do it that way. You know,
that's a lot.
That's a lot, and you would have to have people agree to give their DNA and test it. But
I can't imagine what it was like to go back there, and then being there by that door of no returns just kind of give you chills.
It did. It did. I mean, when you just to put it in perspective, to think, you know, when I think about slavery, you just think, okay, that happened. But when I know through a DNA test for a fact that somebody related to me was in that house. Like, that is a fact. I mean, I wonder, did they look like me? Did they have my same personality? Did they, you know, you just you go through all of those feelings, and when you're stepping in the same footsteps that they did.
Well, it's an amazing story. Both parts now on the website.
Yes, they are on the website. Also, go to wgn.com/Senegal. I have a lot of web extras there. I visited a lake that's pink. My favorite color. The water is pink. I kid you not. I kid you not. And they collect salt from there and they send it all over the world. So I show you how they do that. It's really, really interesting. And then there's another package on there about investment in Senegal. So check it out.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank
Courtney.
you.
Great story.